Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to episode 114. And yes, today I think I'm speaking a little bit more clearly because today's topic, well, has nothing to do with me speaking clearly, but it has to do with audio and the quality of said audio. As a streamer, as a content creator, I want to say, well, I started from the bottom. Did not start right off the rip with good quality equipment for my stream. However, I want to talk about audio, microphones, what you should do, what you can do. Now, I'm no expert in audio. 100% I'm no expert. I've had to use YouTube. I've had to ask questions. I've had to have other people suggest things and this and that. And when it came to buying a new microphone, what should I get and all this kind of stuff. But I started, if you have no clue, back in 2020 when I was, just starting in my living room on my Xbox. I had no microphone. So I literally had to go buy a headset with a microphone. I always played console video games, Call of Duty, mainly at that time, on my TV with the sound on the TV speakers. Yeah, like we used to do. Anyways, so that's how I did it. So I went out and bought, at the time, a $30 Turtle Beach, I don't even remember what it was called, Turtle Beach headset. And my mic that I used was attached to the headset. You can only imagine how wonderful this sounded. Yes, that's right, a $30 headset. Pretty expensive when it comes to audio and headset, recommendations. But yeah, Turtle Beach, $30 headset. My mic that I was using was attached to the headset. It was cool. I could flip it up and it would mute. Yeah. But it sounded absolutely horrible. Sounded like I was trying to contact NASA from a monkey's behind. And if you've ever tried to do that, it's pretty difficult. With that being said, audio is so important in the world of streaming for one simple reason. And it's not a reason a lot of people may think. It's, a lot of people are like, well, if you're streaming and people can't hear you too well, or if it doesn't sound very good, or if it's always the gain is too high, it's blown up and it's distortion and this and that. A lot of people may sit there and say it's because you might not, gain a lot of viewers and all this kind of stuff. One of the main reasons, and literally it's one of those things that you might not even think about, is the fact that there's a lot of stream viewers, whether you're on whatever platform you're on, that are watching on their phone. A lot of those people might not have a great connection. There's a lot of times where people, and those people are listening with earbuds usually, or headsets or whatever like that. Not a lot of people, I don't think, might be listening. They're probably somewhere in public or at work or something like that and listening on their phone. It might be difficult. And phone speakers are not the best either. So they're probably listening with AirPods and stuff like that. But a lot of times the reception where they may be is not that great. So what does that mean for a stream? The stream's going to buffer, right? Like crazy. The video is going to buffer and all that kind of stuff, and you can barely watch sometimes. But the audio, if you watch an audio only, I'll tell you what, it usually works no problem regardless of your reception. And I've been told by many people that I can't see you, but I can hear you, stuff like that. If your audio is so bad and they already can't watch you because the reception is bad where they are, then you're just chalked. They're not going to stay in your stream at all, right? So literally audio is so important at that point in terms of, there's audio balancing, of course, in terms of, music volume versus your voice versus the game and all that kind of stuff. And all that together has to be balanced out. That's an easy fix in terms of putting this up and down and putting that up and down. What I'm talking about is making sure that you have the best quality audio that you can potentially have with whatever device you may be using. Whether it's a headset mic, a Turtle Beach $30 headset mic, whether it's a Blue Yeti, whether it's a HyperX Quadcast Rainbow goddamn microphone, or what I'm using, a Shure SM7B or beyond, you got to make sure the audio is good. Recently went into a stream, someone brand new, looked like well-established anyways, Shure SM7B on the mic arm, in their face, love it. I love my microphone. It's an expensive microphone. You need to have a mixer to go with that, like a Go XLR or Rodecast podcast mic mixer audio thing. Forget what they're called, but you have to have an audio mixer. It's an XLR cable. It's better quality, blah, 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 blah. It sounded like my $30 headset mic that I used to use nearly 5 years ago. There's a problem with that. A $500, $600 microphone should not sound like a $30 headset mic that is trying to contact NASA from a monkey's behind. So what's the problem? Well, if your distortion is if you're yelling and all of a sudden it sounds like you're in a spaceship and it's grainy, it sounds bad, it's staticky sounding, all these things, you got to fix it. Number one thing that you should be doing as a content creator or streamer, you don't have to be a live streamer, you could just be recording content and doing whatever. You still got to sound good. Main thing you should be doing is listening to clips or listen to a VOD or listen to your stream or do like I do, mic monitor. I always hear my voice as I record these podcasts, as I stream, as I create content. I hear myself in my own headset in order to make sure that I sound normal. It also helps when you're doing voices and voice effects using your, whether it be a Go XLR or voice mod or whatever, you can hear what you sound like. Makes sense, right? But with that being said, you got to listen. You have to listen. So there's this streamer that I'm watching and I want to, check out the vibes and I want to hang out and all that, but it makes it insanely difficult when the audio is so, as soon as they get a little bit louder, whether you're yelling out of excitement or fear from a scary game or whatever it is, it sounds so staticky and blown out, and their mic might even cut off. That's literally, depending on your headset or your mic, your audio, your setup, can literally simply be as a few setting changes. Not even adding filters, not even doing anything crazy, but simply just going, for example, to your Go XLR and putting one thing down, putting one thing up, changing your gain. Boom, you have now what sounds like a $1,000 microphone instead of a $30 microphone. So it's very important. So what did I do? Personal experience, go to this stream, right? You want to hang out, you want to check out the vibes, the audio is crap. You could mention it. As a new chatter, it's difficult to sit there and be like, hey, you need to fix your microphone. If I know the person, I will 100% be like, hey, probably like in a private setting, like a Discord message or something like that, be like, hey, this is what I kind of heard in your stream. I don't know if it was just me, but I want to make sure if you could just rewatch your VOD, make sure your audio is good. Problem is, a lot of people might not know what good audio sounds like, but doesn't take long for you to go to a higher end streamer, look at their content, YouTube famous people, whatever, that are maybe similar micro setups as your own, and you just got to listen, and you just say, oh, that's what I'm supposed to sound like. I recently had someone message me that I did, another streamer friend of mine that we did kind of a collaboration in last week or with, in terms of just gaming together and the community's kind of coming together. They asked me about microphone settings because they have a lot of background and we have the same mic and this and that, and I suggested the things that I could suggest and change the EQ, stuff like that. There's a lot you can do, but people, you have to realize that you should ask questions. If someone has the same mic setup as you and has better audio, make sure to be like, hey, what are your settings? What do you do? Can you help me? Because you need the top-notch audio that you can potentially get. So with that being said, if you have a $30 headset, that's fine. Use it. Just there's not a lot you can do, but that's something that it's out of your control. Once you're able to progress and maybe buy a new mic, learn about the microphone. A lot of people use the HyperX Quadcast mic. It's very well known. It's very noticeable because it's got RGB on it and stuff like that. But a lot of people don't realize that you have to speak into the side of the microphone rather than the end of it. And here they are, their voice not being captured fully. It doesn't sound as clear and as crisp as it should. I don't exactly know the price point, but I think it's a couple $100 for the microphone. I could be wrong. I am also Canadian, so don't blame me. But I've also seen the $500 Shure SM7B folks with very, very big issues in terms of gain and blowing out when getting loud. I could yell into this microphone and I will never blow out because the threshold is good, the EQ is on point, and the gain is set to a gain level that is not going to go out of whack based off of how I speak on a normal basis. These are all things that I learned on a YouTube video. These are not things that I learned on my own, just kind of figuring it out and tweedle-daddling into the settings. I literally went best EQ settings for my microphone, and I changed them to that a long time ago. I adjusted a little bit. Everyone's voice is a little bit different, of course. Well, a lot different. But then I adjusted it, and then now it's super crisp and clean, and I love the way my microphone sounds. If I need to change that, if I open my threshold, I know what it does. If I close it, I know what it does. If I change this part, that part, and this part, I know how it will affect my microphone so that I'm ready for the changes. For example, when I sing and play guitar, I don't have my guitar linked to my computer hooked up directly yet. I got to figure that out. But I open up my threshold so that my microphone can capture more audio because it needs to capture my voice and the guitar good enough. If I close that, my mic will not capture my guitar because my mic will be right close to my face and it'll only capture my voice because that's the only thing, because the window is smaller, for example. So either way, at the end of the day, if you're using a headset mic, a Blue Yeti, realize that it's a condenser microphone and not a dynamic microphone, so it captures all around the microphone. You're going to get a lot of background noise, so you might need to go into your OBS or Streamlabs and put filters, like noise gate filters, like I used to have to do back in the day, because I used the Blue Yeti back a few years ago. If you have a Shure SM7B, make sure you change the EQ. A lot of people just plug their mic in and then just boom, done. They don't actually go through the mic setup. So you got to make sure you do that, but please realize you got to watch your streams. Look for audio first, video. That is literally the viewer experience. You could literally have the worst haircut in the world, kind of like what I have right now. I don't want to talk about it. There's a reason I wear a lot of hats. But if your audio and video are chalked, your whole stream can be chalked. And listen, no pun intended, but listen. No one wants to stick around when they can't hear you properly, or they have to squint and cover their ears and remove their headsets or earphones when you're loud because it's just not set up properly. It takes a few minutes. Take the time out of your day. Ask those questions. Go on YouTube. Figure it out. Ladies and gentlemen, audio. It's important. Also, articulating, which I'm working on. I'm a mumbler. It's not my fault. As always, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate it. And as always, we'll catch you next time. Cheers.